This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health therapy, diagnosis, or treatment. The topics discussed on this podcast are intended to offer general insights and support, but are not personalized to any individual's unique mental health needs. If you have specific concerns about your mental health, please seek guidance from a qualified mental health professional or licensed therapist. Your mental well-being is important, and only a trained professional can provide tailored advice and care. If you are currently experiencing a mental health crisis, please call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 911, or go to your nearest emergency room immediately. Do not wait for a future appointment or podcast episode. Help is available right now. Remember, you are not alone, and support is always available.
Welcome to the first episode of The Hot Seat with Holly Meginniss. I'm Holly Meginniss, in case you haven't figured that out yet. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker and a licensed substance use disorder professional, and this is the last time I'm going to say that because I don't want it to be way too professional. So yes, I have notes because I'm old and I forget stuff. So what is the hot seat? The idea for this came from the brilliant mind of myself and Jonathan Sheffield. We had talked about doing something about mental health that was both entertaining and something you could learn from, because there's a lot going on in this world right now. And it's not that mental health doesn't affect us all the time, but right now, a lot of people are struggling. We're seeing a lot of stuff that we never thought we'd see in our lifetime. Plus, I want to also educate in not using certain phrases when you are talking about how you're feeling, because I don't want to trivialize depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia. Those are very difficult illnesses. So I want to educate that we don't, don't be saying it's a bipolar moment, because it's not. And I know I sound a little bitchy. Buckle in, it's going to get worse. We're going to explore how mental health affects all parts of our lives. It affects our personal relationship. It affects our professional relationships. It can affect your physical pain and recovery from illness or injury. It affects our overall well-being. If we don't eat well, if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't take care of our mental health, we won't do any of the other stuff. That's just a fact. And so we want to keep doing that with kindness and humor. There's going to be a lot of humor in this. We're going to laugh a lot. But what we're not going to do is bullshit, because that's not okay. We're going to talk about things with respect. We're going to talk about things with open minds. We're going to talk about things with inclusivity. So let me get this out of the way real quick. When I was in private practice many years ago, I worked primarily with families and children and things like that. And so I would work with families, and I would have the parents come in and I would give them the spiel about how I wanted things to work, and give the spiel for the kids as well. So here's what this one's, I've modified it a little bit. We are going to talk to each other, meaning if you guys send in comments, questions, concerns, people here as guests, because we will have guests, we're going to talk with kindness, even if we disagree. What we're not going to do is put tinfoil hats on. We're not going to argue things that aren't true, scientifically proven, or facts. And if you want to do that, we're not going to do that on this podcast, because it's my podcast and it's my rules. So we're going to do a lot of 2SLGBTQIA. Yes, I can say them all. And I like to say them all because they're all very important. We're not going to splinter it, If you are a gay person that doesn't like trans people, we're not going to work out very well. We are going to be community. I am a gay woman. I am a lesbian. If you have a problem with that, you might want to turn that off right now. We're going to allow for growth and visibility. We need it. There are way too many people right now who fear for their lives just for being who they are, and I'm not going to tolerate that. Nobody's going to feel that way on this podcast, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Talk about topics that affect all of us, like I said, in truth and not conspiracy or lies. Topic examples, your usual ones: anxiety, depression, social media, and how that contributes to anxiety and depression. We're going to talk about fear in our current climate and what we can do, and that it's okay for us to fight back. And boy, do we have a plan show for that. Laughter and why we need it. What laughter does for us. We will talk about scientific stuff. I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of the scientific stuff because I could go nerd ass crazy on that with it. But I don't want to do that. What I do want to help you understand is it does things to your brain that are good. I will actually bring my brain in. Not the one up here. I have a model of the brain. So we will do that, and I will show you how different things work in the brain. Things like how music has to be an essential part of mental health. There's going to be some folks probably watching this who I went to school with many moons ago. We're not going to ask how many. When I was a music therapy major, I got to learn that stuff. So I incorporate a lot of music into therapy and things like that. So we will do that. We're also going to talk about crying. Did you know crying is important? We all hate it. It's not pretty, especially if you don't have waterproof mascara on. But crying is important. Crying is so important. We do it in a variety of contexts. We cry when we're sad. We cry when we experience loss. We cry when we're happy. We cry when we find something exceptionally funny. Crying is a pressure release valve for our brain. And we're going to talk about why crying is not a bad thing for anybody. That includes you boys out there who think it's not okay. And then we're going to do roundtable discussions. Those are going to be great. We're going to talk about things like weight loss and mental health, and I'll share a little bit of my experience because about this time last year, I was almost 60 pounds heavier, and why I went on that journey and the importance of it. You don't have to do a lot to feel better about yourself. And it's not that we're trying to body shame anybody, not me. But what we will do is talk about feeling good about yourself and feeling good about those things. We'll also probably do a queer as fuck one too, with some of my favorite gay people in the whole world. And we will just talk about a variety of things. You will also be encouraged to send in things if you have a thought or a desire to do something with it. Don't be afraid to reach out. Let us know. Comments will be appreciated. However, if they're nasty, I probably won't hear about them because that's not what I do. Yes, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a bit of a bitch. But that's okay. Everybody should be a bit of a bitch. Beautiful, intelligent, talented, compassionate, and hot. Bitch. And then, of course, my favorite part of all, the no bullshit corner, where we will take a sip and bring the tone down. Kind of like Mr. Rogers, but with swear words. We're going to talk about bringing our topics round to a good wrap up. I want to give everybody encouragement about what we talked about because we are all broken and yet we're not. Because being broken means you can't create new, and I'm going to make a total idiot of myself, and somebody's going to send it in and tell me what this is. But there's this wonderful Japanese art form where they will break pottery and they'll put it back together with gold. And it creates a whole new piece of art. We've all been broken. We've all had that happen. And yet we all can come back together stronger and better. We're also going to talk about forgiveness. People hate that word. People hear that word and it's like, oh, it's okay. No. Forgiveness is more like Elsa, for you Disney people, who sang her famous song, Let It Go. Doesn't mean you forget. And yeah, we're going to venture into that with dealing with our family members as we get closer to the holidays. It's been a year. How do we get to a point where we can come together? Or what if somebody changed their mind about MAGA, about everything that they thought is going to happen? How do we move forward in a relationship? Doesn't mean they have to be your best friends. Doesn't mean they have to be your closest people. But how do we come back together? Because right now, if we don't, we are doomed to fail as a country, as a society, and we can't let that happen. We just can't. There are people we love who don't agree with us. That's okay. But we just don't have to deal with their tinfoil and conspiracy theories and things like that. And finally, there's something I'm going to leave you with every single episode. And it's going to be the same thing that I'm going to tell you. And I don't have it memorized yet, so forgive me. The only thing you have control of in your life right now is you. Do not give your control and your happiness to someone else, because it's nobody else's job to make you happy except yours. And with that, I wish you a great month, a great week, a great everything until our next episode. Bye.
If you are currently experiencing a mental health crisis, please call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 911, or go to your nearest emergency room immediately. Do not wait for a future appointment or podcast episode. Help is available right now. Remember, you are not alone, and support is always available.
Thank you so much for watching the first episode of The Hot Seat with Holly Meginniss. This is a passion project for me, for everyone at Aru, to bring mental health into a mainstream, not hide it behind an office wall. Obviously, we're talking in very general terms. I'm not your therapist. We talk about it at the beginning of the show. It's really important, though, that you are a part of this. You tell me what you want to talk about, especially if you are in a group that you feel isn't represented well. If you are African American, if you are in the gay community, if you are a woman, because we are going to talk about strong women and being intimidating. There's so many things that we can talk about. If you want to send suggestions, comments, concerns, I won't see the nasty stuff because they will take care of me. The email address is production@Aru Creative, ARUCreative.com. Be sure to subject it as for Holly or for the hot seat, and I will see those. Those will come to me, and I will be glad to incorporate your suggestions, because this show is for you. I do this job every day, and I love what I do. I am honored every single day that people let me be a part of their lives for the season that I need to be there. I also love the fact that I get to be a part of your life for the season that you want me there. So please, suggestions are welcomed and encouraged, And again, it's production at arucreative.com, ARUCREATIVE.com. See you next time.